I had already decided, in the car, that I wouldn't stay long. That was the quiet bargain I made with myself, while buttoning my son's collar at a red light, smoothing my daughter's hair with my palm. We would arrive, say hello, deliver the gift, sing if we had to, and leave before the air thickened. I'd learned how to read that change in rooms. How celebration could curdle into performance. How love could become conditional if I lingered too long. The restaurant had those wide windows that make everything feel exposed. White tablecloths. Mimosas catching light. My mother liked places where the staff knew her name, where birthdays were announced with a practiced cheerfulness. I paused at the door, my kids close, aware of how carefully dressed we were. Not flashy. Just respectful. Sunday best in the old sense of the word, clean, intentional trying. My sister saw us first. Her smile stalled, then recovered. A small wave. Someone laughed too loudly at the table. Chairs shifted, my father stood. He didn't raise his voice. That was the part that surprised me, even now when I replay it. He stepped just far enough into my path that the servers had to adjust their trays. "You shouldn't have come," he said. "Not we weren't expecting you. Not can we talk later." Just that. A sentence that assumed authority, finality, and an audience. There was a second where everything he prepared to negotiate. Years of practice. I could have smoothed it over, joked, apologized for existing in the wrong tone. I could have taught my kids, in real time, how to make themselves smaller for the comfort of others. Instead, I felt something settle, not anger. Not shock, clarity. I nodded once, turned, put my hand on my son's back, guiding him gently. My daughter followed without a word. We walked back through the glass doors. I didn't look behind us, I didn't need to, in the car. My daughter asked if Grandma was mad. "No," I said after a moment. Sometimes grown-ups don't handle things well. That was true enough to stand on. The drive home was quiet in the way that isn't heavy yet, just careful. I kept my voice even when they asked about cake. I promised them pancakes later. I focused on the road, on the familiar turns, on the way leaving felt less dramatic than staying would have been. At home, I hung the clothes back up. The gift bag stayed by the door. I made coffee. I sat at the kitchen table. And memories arrived uninvited, as they do when something finally breaks the pattern. How I'd taken over the family account years ago when my parents started missing payments. How it was framed as temporary, practical, responsible. How I'd added my name because the bank required it. How my sister joked that I was the boring one, who liked spreadsheets. How my father liked to remind people that the money was still his, even when he wasn't tracking it. I hadn't thought of it as power. I thought of it as containment, damage control. One less thing to worry about. The phone rang an hour later. I let it ring twice before answering. "What did you do?" my sister demanded, no greeting. Her voice sharp with adrenaline. "Why did you lock the account? Mom's crying. This is her birthday." I closed my eyes. "I didn't lock it," I said. "I restricted access." "Same thing. Dad can't pay the bill." "The card was declined." "I know." There was a pause, then disbelief. "You're punishing them. Because of what Dad said." "I'm not punishing anyone." "Then fix it." I thought of the restaurant, the sentence delivered cleanly. The expectation that I would absorb it quietly as usual. "No," I said. She laughed once, incredulous. "You can't just." "I can," I said, still calm, "and I have." She started talking fast then. About embarrassment, about how Mom didn't understand. About how this would blow up into something bigger. About family. I let her talk until she ran out of breath. I didn't withdraw anything. I said when there was space. I didn't move money. I set a requirement that any disbursement needs my approval. That's been recommended before. Who? By the bank. She swore. I heard voices in the background, my mother's, thin and high. My father's, lower, angry. "This is cruel," my sister said finally. I considered that. The word sat between us. "What was said to me was public," I said. "And intentional. That doesn't mean, does," I said gently. "It means I won't finance my own exclusion." She hung up on me. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. An unfamiliar number. The bank officer's voice was steady, professional. She referenced dates, notes, prior warnings about unusual spending patterns. She confirmed that, given my documented role and previous concerns, the temporary restriction was appropriate. She asked if I wanted to schedule a review. "Yes," I said. "Please." When I hung up, the house was still. The kids were building something in the living room, arguing softly over instructions. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. My father didn't call that day. Or the next, my mother texted a brief message about misunderstandings. About hurt feelings. About birthdays being emotional. I replied that we could talk another time, we haven't yet. What I feel isn't satisfaction, it's not victory. There's grief in it, a dull one, for the version of family that required me to keep proving my worth through usefulness. There's guilt, too, when I picture my mother crying. Even secondhand. But there is also something steadier now. I no longer rush to smooth over moments that cut. I no longer confuse access with affection. The account remains restricted. Bills get paid after conversations, not before. Boundaries exist where there used to be assumptions. My kids don't know the details. They just know we didn't stay where we weren't wanted. They know pancakes still happened. They know the world didn't end. Sometimes dignity looks like walking away without a speech. Sometimes it looks like closing a ledger and letting silence do the explaining. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't make a scene. I simply stopped paying the price of admission.